The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
You must leave me alone now. I have agreed to everything. Even to...
But you do realize your mother will have to accept the consequences of her acts.
I hope that your search will prove successful and bring Sarah back to us soon.
I'll be leaving now because whatever it is you're up to, I do not want to know.
Since then, we have become one and the same. We have officially erased the identity of my sister Emma. Emily Hillsborough, the woman with two faces.
Everyone seems to be a little unnecessarily heated. Don't forget where you are, please.
Louis? Louis, the conference is about to start any minute. This is not the time to be... Damn it. What's going on?
I don't know exactly, Mr. President. I was looking for my mother and I came upon this body.
My God. You don't think Sarah did it, do you?
No, I don't think so. Why would she have attacked a servant?
If no one saw you, I'd advise you not to get involved, Louis, so that no one will accuse you of the murder. Ah, darn, the conference is starting. Time is of the essence. Sort this out and join us as quickly as you can in the conference room. Everyone will be expecting you.
Mr. President, this is not really the right time, and I didn't come for that.
Your mother's seat cannot remain vacant. You must replace her while she's still missing. Your mother and I were to support Mortimer on this project. I don't know what the subject is, but the future of our countries depends on it. Given the importance of all this to Mortimer, he won't let the conference begin without you. So if you don't want more servants coming looking for you, I'd advise you to join us quickly and to put a brave face on it. The best favor you can do for yourself, Louis, and for Sarah, is to come and support Mortimer's project at the conference.
Don't worry. You can count on me, Mr. President. I shall help you with Mortimer's project as soon as I've finished up here.
Good, Louis. Sarah would be proud of you. I'll stall them while you're on your way, but make haste. I'm going. Don't be long.
Tell them that I'm on my way.
Leftover food. Not exactly fresh. Must have been here for a while. Someone's made a fire here, and the ashes are still warm. If you're the one who did it, Mother, it couldn't have been easy with only one hand. I must have just missed her. If only I hadn't wasted so much time getting out of Lord Mortimer's study. An old blanket. From the looks of it, it couldn't have kept her very warm. Oh, he's dead. What the hell's been going on here? Somebody smashed in the back of his head with something. He slowly bled to death. But that isn't what killed him. They broke his neck. Let's see what secret's hidden under these masks. His face doesn't ring a bell. I'm a bit disappointed. Might have expected more from Lord Mortimer. Mother, if this is your doing, The situation is getting worse and worse. Well, the gate is locked.
Monsieur de Richet, you're the only one missing at the conference. Please join the guests. Monsieur de Richet, you are expected at the conference. Please take the door to your left to join the guests.
Indeed, I rather believe he did. I had some
Respect to any other leading character is no
one.
Totally wrong, I assure you.
I have suspected it for some time.
That does seem as if...
No, you are serious.
She's not acting by design, is she?
No. But with respect to any other, it cannot be to that point.
Amber.
Well, that is very decided indeed.
That does seem as if...
My son, glad you're here. It seems Lord Mortimer's been waiting for you to arrive before beginning. What a pity your mother isn't here for the conference. I hope I'll be able to see her before I leave. I still have a very important letter to give to her.
Feeling all right, Louis? You look like you're miles away.
Everything's fine. Don't worry.
Lord Mortimer wants to talk to you, Louis. Don't make him wait.
Indeed, I rather believe he did. I heard something about it, but I hardly know what.
I don't know if you ever found what you were looking for in the garden, but Mortimer is waiting for you. I suggest you get a move on.
You say it as if you were afraid of him. I sense that you have things you'd like to say, but something's holding you back. What is going on between you two?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I believed in him. I followed him to the best of my ability. I championed his ideas, defended his decisions, and then, without even realizing it, I became lost. The siren's song, Monsieur de Richet. You wake up one morning, not knowing where you are, and you think about everything you've done for a man who wasn't even worth it. For a man who has no respect for you, who uses you, and who drops you as soon as he no longer needs you. For me, it's too late now. But you still have a choice. Don't respond to his call, sir.
Are you quite sure? Is there not a little mistake somewhere?
Yes, because she asked him at last.
Your plan is a good one.
She's not acting by design, is she?
Not as you represent it.
But with respect to any other leading characteristic, I do not imagine that much has been unfolded.
By all that I have ever read, I'm convinced that it's very...
Honey, the remedy of the gods.
But it is not sound. You know it is not sound.
Your conjecture is totally wrong.
A chest with a motif representing the alchemical symbol of water.
Now I am convinced.
I have already told her so once, by your desire.
Are you quite sure, sir? Is there not a little mistake somewhere?
Yes, because she asked him at last, and he could not help answering her, but she said he seemed quite angry at being spoken to.
But it is not sound. You know it is not sound.
Your conjecture is totally wrong, I assure you.
I have suspected it for some time, but now I am convinced.
I have already told her so once.
Good evening, gentlemen. Are we ready? The much-awaited conference is about to begin?
That is what we have all been waiting for.
I believe that Lord Mortimer wishes to speak to you before it begins. You should go and see him. Are you quite sure, sir? Is there not a little mistake somewhere?
Yes, because she asked him at last, and he could not help answering her, but she said he seemed quite angry at being spoken to.
But it is not sound.
Your conjecture is totally
But with respect to any other leading characteristic, I do not imagine that much has been unfolded.
I have already told her so once, by your desire.
Are you quite sure?
No, if you are serious about that,
Asked him at last, and he could not help answering her, but she said he seemed quite angry.
Stand according to your representation.
But it is not
You
sound.
must remember.
she's not acting by design, is she?
Not as you represent it.
But with respect to any other leading character... Ah, Louis, I've been expecting you. Thank you for joining us. We are about to begin our conference. Let me explain what is at stake.
Thank you kindly, but what do you expect of me exactly? My mother's the one who's supposed to attend, not me.
That is indeed what was initially intended. Unfortunately, she still hasn't been found, and my guests can't stay here indefinitely. The conference must begin, and it would be truly beneficial to the Order to join in the project. Consequently, I would like you to replace her during her absence. What is at stake here is of the utmost importance.
It's important that the French Order gets their say. And should you need any advice, don't worry, you are not alone, Louis.
Very well. Can you give me a brief explanation of the aim of it all?
Of course, Louis, I was coming to that. The aim of these meetings is to bring together the most influential people in order to think together about the future.
But the future of who?
Of the world, Louis.
Our desire is to steer the destiny of our respective countries for the good of all, and to no longer suffer the random hazards of history.
In concrete terms, how do you organize your discussions?
A conference is always organized the same way. There are two masters of ceremony who determine an important subject.
You and Sir Gregory, I presume.
Exactly. We shall be the masters of ceremony. It was our obligation to each bring to the table several guests in order to debate a subject. Once the debate is closed, a decision will be made by a vote of all the participants.
By a unanimous vote. If the project is not agreed on by all, then it will be rejected.
And neither of the two masters of ceremony have the right to vote.
It's up to the guests alone to decide, Louis. In other words, us.
Gregory and myself are merely the go-betweens. Finally, if the project is validated, each guest goes home and starts working to make it happen.
It can take years.
How long have you been active?
Oh, this tradition has more or less always existed, Louis. It has continued from generation to generation.
Do you often hold this kind of society dinner?
In general, once a year, but in actual fact it tends to be events that dictate our gatherings.
Can you give me an example of an event that was decided here before being implemented in the outside world?
Well, take the French Revolution. It was decided right here 2 years before its implementation in France.
Concerning the case of the French Revolution, I wasn't invited. But as far as the American Revolution is concerned, Louis, I can testify that we planned it 5 years before implementing it, for example.
Louis, let me keep you a moment. I would like to let you in on a secret before we begin, because I'm going to need your assistance. You see, the project I'm going to present concerns the territory of Louisiana in North America. It's currently Spanish territory, and I'm going to make the proposition to the Assembly for it to become French.
But how does that concern me?
Well, you see, I prepared this project with your mother. We began thinking about a crazy idea. Unfortunately, Sarah went missing before getting the bigger picture. I don't intend to stop at Louisiana. My idea is to increase the territory of the United States. The first stone of this vast project consists of getting Spain to cede Louisiana to France. Once it becomes French, France will hand it over to the United States, which will then allow them to double the size of their territory. And that's where you come in. France and the United States, hand in hand, two democracies illuminating the world.
Lord Mortimer, I'm sure you're aware that Louisiana is hardly prime quality land. I wouldn't be exaggerating to call it marshland. How is acquiring land they won't know what to do with going to strengthen the United States?
Think further, Louis. The United States won't stop there. Once they've acquired Louisiana, nothing will stop them. All they would have to do then is keep pushing toward the west to take the whole North American continent.
So you intend to get rid of the Spanish?
They are purely transitory. This is the settlers' home. It is natural for them to want to develop their nation to become one of the greatest powers of this world. As for the Spanish, there are just a handful of them actually on site, and if need be, we'll see to it that they are sufficiently occupied in Europe so that their focus is not on the North American continent. Moreover, Spain really only cares about its colonies in South America. It's hardly my fault if they are not capable of seeing the potential in the North American territories. The concept of royalty is from bygone times. It is time to lead the way to democracy. Take a look at them. Apart from President Washington, they all belong to monarchies. Do you really think they won't resist? Of course they'll fight, fearful as they are of losing their precious privileges. But the world needs visionaries, like you, like your mother. It's a pity Sarah isn't here to see it. She only knew about a tiny part of the project. I hope I can count on you, Louis. It's time to start now. I must ask you to keep it to yourself for the time being. Take a seat, follow the discussions. We will have an opportunity to catch up later, and you'll be able to let me know your thoughts. My friends, I propose we get started. First of all, I would like to thank you for taking the time to come.
The honor is ours, my lord.
As per our custom, here we are all together to discuss the face of tomorrow's world. Even though there may be certain tensions between our nations, I must ask you to keep an open mind. As Sarah de Richet is unable to be among us, please welcome Louis de Richet, who will represent the Golden Order and will vote on its behalf when the time comes.
Welcome among us, Louis.
Welcome, Monsieur. I hope he'll be more effective than his mother regarding the protection of the King of France. The Order has proved particularly inefficient.
Come, Manuel, you're not going to spoil our visit. The Order's mission was not to protect King Louis XVI, as far as I am aware.
We are talking about a king of divine blood, for goodness sake. It seemed obvious to me he needed protecting. If the Golden Order wants to pride itself on being an influential organization, it should have kept him alive.
Thank you all. I am honored to be among you today. I will strive to represent the interests of the Order as best I can.
Perhaps we may begin, Lord Mortimer.
Certainly. I have a dream that our nations will continue to support each other, more now than ever before. A dream that, for the sake of common good, we will do what it takes to ensure stability in the modern world. I have a dream that we shall lead by example and ensure that the American territory may remain in peace.
Thank you for the thought, Lord Mortimer, but I don't see where you're leading.
I'm coming to it, Mr. President. I need not remind you that North America is currently divided between the United States on the East Coast and Spain, which occupies the remaining 2/3 of the continent. Well, I propose that Spain cede the center of the continent to France, namely all of Louisiana.
Louisiana? But, well, it is not for sale. Lord Mortimer, I sincerely hope I have not come all this way just to hear you ramble on about what Spain should and should not do. When we went to all the trouble of gaining the territory a few years ago, it was not just to lose it today. Have I made myself clear?
What did I tell you, William? You speak of union, and yet here you are, about to tear us apart.
Duke Manuel, I perfectly understand you. But rest assured, you will soon adore my proposition. You shall see.
Well, since you give me the choice, my good fellow, allow me to doubt it. However, I am impatient to hear what Spain could possibly gain from the sale of Louisiana.
I never spoke of a sale, my good fellow.
What? But I do not understand.
There is one more territory left to conquer, if I'm not mistaken, in the northwest. It is, of course, occupied by your notorious Indians, but...
We shall soon be rid of the savages, so that is not the question.
Duke, these savages, as you call them, were there before you. They are on their homeland.
As much as the black people of Africa, Monsieur de Richet. That does not stop your dear France from massacring them and sending them like cattle to Mr. Washington's cotton plantations to provide him with cheap labor. So you keep your morals to yourself, if you please.
Senor, I would not like to be associated with that. The subject of black slaves in the United States of America is a complex subject, which we shall resolve at a future date.
France is not without fault, but that doesn't take away Spain's responsibilities. You see, Native Americans are being subjected to a veritable ethnic cleansing. Europeans are colonizing their land so that it then belongs to them. The widespread evangelization of its inhabitants will soon eradicate a multitude of cultures. You've done the same thing in South America. How far will white people go? Reservations to pin them in like cattle? Total genocide?
Come now, my friends, let us not digress. Anyway, And these primitive people have no souls, Louis. We bring the good word to them in order to save them. You'll see. Colonization brings with it many benefits, too.
Excuse me, if you don't mind, Your Eminence, I shall continue. Duke Manuel, I believe that Spain should cede Louisiana to France, free of charge.
This is utterly grotesque, Lord Mortimer. What a strange example you set for your young protégé. Isn't that so, Monsieur de Richet? Do you understand anything of this proposition?
We are neighbors, Duke Manuel. Remember, your main rival in Europe is more likely to be England, who is plowing the seas right up your coastline. Hand over Louisiana to France and make her a prime ally.
Come, Louis. Spain and Great Britain are already allies and have nothing to gain by breaking their alliance.
Even if I do agree, Duchess, the omnipresence of the English fleet in Atlantic waters does not particularly please me.
I must say, William, I find your project mostly disfavors me. I thought you were my friend.
And I am, Mr. President. That is why I'm doing everything in my power to calm your expansionist fervor. France, in Louisiana, should persuade you not to attempt anything to take the territory by force. Louisiana is a vast wetland where you would needlessly lose most of your troops. It would weaken you and offer certain nations the perfect opportunity to take back your famous United States. I am protecting you from yourself, George. Trust me.
I understand. But with friends like you, sir, I certainly don't need any more enemies. I hope you know what you're doing.
Am I imagining things, or does it look like Washington isn't aware of Mortimer's plan?
Not to put too fine a point on it, Lord Mortimer, but I doubt the Holy See would be in favor of Catholic Louisiana being handed over to secular revolutionaries and king killers.
I should think Monsieur de Richet has an opinion on this subject, does he not?
Your Eminence, have no fear over that. I am sure France will do everything in its power to protect the Christians of Louisiana.
My young friend, how can you come out with such a remark after the discussion we had on the evening of your arrival? If France was so respectful of worship, it would not be bleeding priests, as it is doing at this very moment in time. Don't be naive. This is politics. The Holy See must be concerned at seeing such a large territory falling into the hands of the French. Mi auguro che insegnerete l'educazione a questo giovanotto presuntuoso, Sir Gregory.
I hope that you will teach this pretentious young man some manners, Sir Gregory. It looks like I won't be just making friends here.
In any case, my lord, I doubt the English crown will agree.
Ich will sicher Ihnen, Emily. Nie Preußen wird diese Vereinbarung akzeptieren.
I assure you, Emily, the Prussian will never accept this agreement. Volner looks like he's set on ruining Mortimer's plan.
Duchess, I am persuaded that we shall find a common ground.
That's enough, William. These are grave times. We don't care about the fate of Louisiana. That worthless expanse of putrid swamps interests no one but yourself.
Speak for yourself, my friend.
Hold on there, Mr. Royal Gigolo. Lower the volume, and let Sir Gregory finish.
Holm, Godoy, and now Volner? Mortimer's adversaries are ready to tear each other to pieces, and he takes a malicious pleasure in watching it happen.
How dare you!
Gentlemen, let us try to remain calm.
There you are, William. See where your projects have taken us, as per usual. Chaos! That's enough. I'm tired.
We shall continue this discussion tomorrow, but please be aware that your project will never be ratified. Those who are opposed to this project, follow me. Are you coming with us, Monsieur de Richet?
Come, Gregory, I think Louis would rather stay. Wouldn't you, Louis?
At the risk of displeasing you, my lord, I'd rather follow Sir Gregory. I don't think this is a place for the Order.
Louis? No.
Let him go, Mr. President. Everyone is free to choose.
How can he be so blind? If he keeps this up, he'll lead our countries to their destruction.
Don't worry, we shall counter him, Sir Gregory.
We have to act immediately.
Calm down, Gregory. We only have to vote against his project, and that's it.
They haven't got a chance. Just one vote will suffice.
True. There is no chance of a unanimous vote. And he knows it. He must be preparing something else. What is he plotting?
I know about his plan.
What did you just say, Louis?
His aim is for the United States to take the whole of the North American continent.
But that is impossible.
A democratic superpower.
I don't understand. That has nothing to do with the coming vote.
He will ask for France to take over Louisiana, and then hand it over to the United States, and so double the size of their territory.
Once that's done, he will just need to push a bit more, and you will lose North America, Duke Manuel.
God's blood! Has he gone mad?
No, Johann. He has always been mad. Louis, I would like to thank you for what you've just revealed. If not for you, I don't know if we'd have been capable of deciphering his plans quickly enough to be able to counter him.
What are we going to do now that we know about it?
Destroy him.
No! We'll beat him at his own game, my friends. His plan begins with Louisiana, which is still yours, Duke Manuel. He will begin with you. Expect to receive an envoy, French most probably. He will try to convince you by every possible means. Whatever he says, whatever he promises, you have just one response. It's war. If war is what you want, war is what you'll get. And on your own territory, in your homes. Enough games. Spain will join the coalition against France and declare war. You too, Duchess Hillsborough. You will speak to the Queen so that Great Britain commits to going to war with France.
What do you expect from the Papal States, Sir Gregory?
What do you think? That they hold a mass? They will go to war, of course. What is it that you didn't understand in what I just told you? We all declare war on France. Militarily, politically, and financially.
And me, Sir Gregory? How can I help?
Louis, you have won my trust. The Order will have to act in France, but even before that, I'm going to need you. Right here and right now. Leave me now. I have to prepare for tomorrow. Let's meet early tomorrow morning for the next phase of the conference, which promises to be most exciting. Louis, I'd like to see you a moment, please. Thank you for siding with me today. I won't forget it. I'm going to need you. Help me counter Mortimer on his own ground. Right here. I'm sure he'll try and win some of you over. He needs our votes. Now, you leave that to me. In the meantime, I must ask you to go and see President Washington and persuade him to trust me and join us.
Do you really think that I'll be able to convince him?
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I have total faith in you. He likes you, and thus he won't see you coming. You must be careful, though. If he senses that you are trying to manipulate him, he'll dig in his heels. Louis, use every means at your disposal. If Washington drops Mortimer, his defeat will be complete. You should go right away. There's no time to lose. William already has a head start on us.
Very well. I'll go right away.
Chronicles of the Amber Princes. As I recall, Dorkin was my favorite character.
Let me in, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but that's impossible.
Come now. There's nothing secret going on in there. Let me in.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I cannot say, sir. I am to follow Lord Mortimer's instructions.
Can you at least tell me who is still in the room? I'm looking for a guest.
Of course, sir. It would seem that only Lord Mortimer and Mr. Napoleon are present. The other guests have gone back to their rooms by another door.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, sir.
Hey, Peru's name tag's fallen off, and his door's ajar. A pattern with 4 circles. Dear Monsieur Peru, I'm writing to thank you for the funds you sent. These funds will be crucial for the renovation of the western wing of the orphanage. The children you sent are doing marvelously well, and little Pierre will soon be walking. Some of them still sometimes suffer nightmares about their parents on the scaffold, but I expect they will cease in due course. Should you decide to send us more, please note that another 20 beds will soon be ready. The children and myself will never thank you enough. Long live the Republic. Long live France. Sister Marie-Hélène.
All right. I've retrieved everything.
The Massacre of the Innocents by Rubens. A bit gloomy. Guess my room is not that bad.
Leave me, Deriche. I don't feel like talking.
Your door was ajar, and well, given the state of your room, I was worried.
It's none of your business.
Very well. I'll leave you then. See you tomorrow, monsieur.
Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris. It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris. And there's some well-known names on it. This is valuable information.
This shouldn't be lying around. Bicorn decorated with a cockade. It must belong to a French soldier. It's a beautiful weapon. My dearest son, I'm writing to implore you to act quickly. The situation is rapidly worsening here. Paoli continues to steer our motherland, Corsica, toward open warfare between France and England. His men are everywhere. We are obliged to go into hiding and are unable to remain in the same place for more than 2 days. I wouldn't be surprised if they targeted us soon. Make haste, my son. You hold our destiny in your hands. Your loving mother, Maria Letizia Bonaparte. The Beaucaire dinner. It hasn't been signed yet, but there's a letter with it. So, Bonaparte is going to publish a book that he didn't write. That crafty little rascal. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost.
My dear Napoleon, as previous... Locked. The President's personal reserve of laudanum, and judging by the quantity, he can't go without it. Ah,
There's also a letter. A map of Connecticut.
My dear George, I'd like to invite you to join me as planned at my place. I have a project to show you. It is time that the United States played a more important role on the world stage. I understand your reluctance of playing with fire. I know your new country is very young, but rest assured that I would do nothing to jeopardize what we have built together. I look forward to seeing you soon. Your friend, William.
Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. Great. Honey.
Louis? What are you doing in my room?
Mr. President, I won't beat around the bush. I came to persuade you not to follow Lord Mortimer on this one.
I appreciate your forthrightness, Louis. That will save us some time. Well, since you're here, can I get you something to drink?
No, thank you, Mr. President.
As you wish. Well, Louis, it's getting late, and this is not my first conference, so let's get straight to the point. You are here to motivate me to change sides.
I hope you're not angry at me. I know that you...
Louis, we are not children. You have your reasons. You will understand that your word no longer holds any value for me. But these things do happen. I only hope you know what you're doing. This is your first conference, and not following the Master of Ceremony who backed you seems somewhat perilous. But you are young, after all. So what can I do for you?
Mr. President, Lord Mortimer treats you purely and simply like the least of his pawns. He gives you no explanation and then commits you to a project from which you have nothing to gain. But you know that more than I do. Is that what siding with Mortimer is all about?
I must confess that I don't entirely understand William lately. Anyway, you haven't really said what you wanted to say. Tell me, Louis, what have you come here to sell me?
You should join home.
And why would I do that?
This type of meeting might be familiar to you, but for me, I must admit, Mr. President, it's all a bit over my head.
It's only natural, Louis. But you are managing rather well for a first-timer. You've chosen the wrong allies, that's all.
I hope my mother doesn't hold it against me if I made a mistake. Anyway, if Lord Mortimer does succeed, it would be no mean feat. Did he tell you what he would gain from it?
What do you mean?
Well, Mortimer's plan has been meticulously prepared for many years, I imagine.
Of that you can be sure.
It's only natural, and his plan leaves nothing to chance.
No, that's what...
He never commits his own fortune, let alone his reputation, since you're the one who takes center stage here.
In fact...
Whether he wins or loses, everything is arranged so that he comes out of it intact.
Yes,
You've got to hand it to him, though. He's a master at putting together a plan which puts himself at no risk.
That's true. Don't worry, you can trust him.
Of course. I'll bet he's invested in a river transport company on the Mississippi or somewhere like that.
It's true I had never thought about what he might have to gain. Tell me what Sir Gregory has to offer that I don't already have with Lord Mortimer.
You are a man of conviction, Mr. President. You would never make a choice that could cost the American people very dearly. If Mortimer falls, he will bring the United States down with him. Haven't the American people suffered enough?
I would never do anything that would put my people in danger.
Exactly. Therefore, choose your allies wisely, sir.
I must admit, your arguments do make sense, Louis. Louis, you convinced me. I congratulate you for your performance, because I didn't think it could happen.
I merely exposed the facts to you.
Don't spoil everything with your false modesty now. You really were very good, and that's that. In any case, I shall follow you on this one. This may well arouse Lord Mortimer's wrath, but I must put the United States before anything else. Have we finished, Louis?
Absolutely, Mr. President. I shan't keep you any longer. Allow me to take my leave.
Good night, Louis. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be a very big day.
Well, that's one thing out of the way. The only thing left to do is wait for the conference to resume tomorrow morning.
Good evening, Monsieur le Français.
Duchess, you're here. What a charming surprise. I'm beginning to think you can't be without me.
You have managed to penetrate my armor, sir. Am I disturbing you, perhaps?
That's not what I said.
Ah, by the way, congratulations on choosing Sir Gregory this evening. You surprised me. I wasn't expecting it.
Why, Emily? Can't you read me like an open book?
Not as well as you read me, it would seem.
I'll teach you if you'd like.
There's nothing I'd like more.
Tell me, are these visits to Mortimer's always so intense?
Yes and no. My sister doesn't normally disappear like she has.
Any news of your mother?
Still nothing, no.
Very well. Can we change subject, please? I didn't come here to go through all that again.
Of course, it's late. You're right.
Come, Louis.
My friends, do not worry. I assure you that Lord Mortimer's plan will never see the light of day. I shall deal with informing our allies, but for the time being, I need you to make a stand.
What do you think about Monsieur de Richet?
I don't know yet. I feel there's great potential in him.
He looks like he can be trusted.
Why isn't he with us? He was opposed to Mortimer.
I'll wait and see. I'm still not sure of his position.
And Duchess Hillsborough, why isn't she here?
She's busy. Don't worry about her.
Oh, isn't it time to replace her?
Not so fast, sir. She is an important figure. You ought to have a little more faith in her.
What are we going to do about Washington?
He will be a hard nut to crack. On our chessboard, he is Mortimer's king.
Don't worry. Mr. President only wants one thing: to keep his dear America united. He won't jeopardize everything he has achieved on a whim.
He has been serving Mortimer for quite some time. It won't be easy to bring him around. I have asked Monsieur de Richet to approach him. Let us have faith in him. I sense that Mr. Peru is about to surprise us too.
Yet he is Mortimer's strong arm in France.
He knows his time has come, and I believe he's intelligent enough to realize it means he is no longer any use to Mortimer. Do you feel all right, Mr. Godoy? You haven't said a word.
Please, excuse me, gentlemen. I feel tired.
Oh, I see. I think it is high time you left us then. Now!
Emily? Emily? Are you there? Typical. There she goes again. What's with this habit of hers of taking off in the middle of the night?
Sir, the conference is about to begin. You are expected in the conference room.
Tell them I'm coming. Thank you. Come on, Louis. The game is back on.
My friends, the conference is about to begin. Please excuse me if I troubled you last night with my project. I understand that you might well have a few questions to ask. As you know, the final vote will be cast in a few days. This morning's aim is to answer your questions and check the temperature of your respective positions so that we may reach a greater understanding.
As always, Lord Mortimer.
We parted in perfect disagreement, my lord. Where would you like us to take it from?
Come, sir. Please let William believe he still has a chance of winning us over. Otherwise, his imprecations will lack panache, and we shall be bored stiff.
Oh, let me reassure you, I am convinced that a good night's sleep has brought sound advice, and that this morning will be even more interesting. Therefore, I would like to go around the table in order to hear everyone's first impressions.
Well, I am still firmly against it, even though my choice won't count.
Against.
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 And you, Duke Manuel?
Against, of course.
Well, as for me, I am for Lord Mortimer's project, despite Duchess Hillsborough's overwhelmingly convincing nocturnal attentions.
What? So Emily was playing at trying to win over guests last night?
It was nothing more than a friendly little chat, of course.
How could it be otherwise? And by the way, remember me to your husband when you see him. And you, President Washington, what is your position?
Well, you see, Monsieur Bonaparte, I would rather you'd have forgotten me for a minute. William, I am sorry, but I cannot follow you this time.
George? What?
I am against William. Please excuse me. I cannot commit the United States to such an enterprise. It's just too risky.
Well, that leaves just yourself and Monsieur Peru, Louis.
You're all making me sick. Look at yourselves.
What?
You are pathetic!
Have you been drinking or what?
There you are, quibbling away. My Lord Duke this, and Madame Duchess that. You know very well that we're nothing but puppets on a damn string.
Jacques, really?
Let's end the charade. It's over!
Jacques.
My lord, thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. But it didn't come for free. And now I see the price is too high to pay. I'll stop.
Come, Jacques, we'll talk it over.
No, I'm finished. I want my freedom back, my lord. I shall no longer work for you.
Wait!
De Richet, you just can't help it, can you? Stop trying to play the hero, man!
Monsieur, I know I don't really know you, but you seem like a decent person.
I have done so many horrible things!
You blame yourself, I can see that. Everything's not lost.
I don't want to do bad things anymore.
You can take control of yourself again. You can fix whatever it is you've done.
Do you really believe that?
Of course, Jacques. You'll have all the time you need. Look, you've done as much as you can. You have nothing to fear. Your daughter is safe.
Shut up!
I don't understand. I spoke to him only recently.
Monsieur Peru has lost his mind. It's obvious.
Yet another way for the French to make a spectacle of themselves. Well, once again, it has worked.
My friends, let us settle down, please. We are all in shock, of course. Let us praise Louis's gesture anyway. You did what you could.
Yes, it was very noble of you, Louis.
It wasn't your fault.
There was nothing else you could have done.
I think everyone needs a little rest. Can you stay a moment?
Of course.
Louis, I wanted to talk to you a moment about what has happened. All this is tragic, But I wanted to thank you for doing what you could.
I wasn't able to save him.
You couldn't, Louis. You mustn't blame yourself. It is not your fault.
Of course, but I thought I could help him.
I guess it was too late. Don't torture yourself. Look what you've done. I admire what you did. Who else among all these great luminaries of the modern world even raised a finger? No one. You were the only one who tried to do anything. What a waste.
What are your plans now?
What do you mean?
For the conference. After the disappearances of both Elizabeth Adams and my mother, and now the death of Mr. Perlu, I should imagine that your guests are all packing their bags.
This might come as a bit of a shock to you, perhaps because it was so difficult to bring all these figures together. But I am convinced that none of them is preparing to leave.
Are you serious?
They are all very experienced politicians. And though they are, of course, affected by the situation, they know full well that such an opportunity will not come again for a long, long time, if ever. They each represent their nation, and know full well that what is at stake here is far greater than the death of poor Monsieur Perlu. You'll see. I am confident that they will all be ready to resume the conference.
If you say so. Allow me to take my leave, please.
Of course. You ought to get some rest. Oh, Louis, one more thing, please. What a pity you didn't support me during the conference. I hope I can count on you on the day of the vote. This major project needs men like you, Louis.
And you never know, right? Maybe by then, I'll see things differently.
Well, thank you for allowing me to believe in that possibility, Louis. From here on, I shall make it my mission to persuade you to change your vote.
Be my guest. But I hope your arguments are very, very persuasive, because I'm not the only one who isn't on your side.
Oh, rest assured, I am working on it.
Very well, then. I'll see you later, my lord.
Someone else. Impossible to tell with you people.
Yes, sir.
Your yes is not sufficient. Tell the others, for crying out loud. Remember to close my window once you've done my room. This isn't Corsica, you know. I'm freezing.
Of course, sir. I'll see to it straight away.
Good. Proceed.
Yes, sir.
Monsieur Bonaparte.
Sorry, Dorichi. I have no time for traitors such as yourself.
I beg your pardon?
If you are here, it's because Lord Mortimer agreed to include you. And what's the first thing that you do? You betray him by following Sir Gregory and bending over backwards to turn Washington against him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was free to vote as I pleased. I didn't realize I had to vote for Lord Mortimer in order to show my gratitude toward him. Hey, he invited me here to come and look for my missing mother during his high society party. I'm sorry, truly sorry. I don't know all your customs yet.
It's just common decency that when invited to a man's castle, you don't go and to pee on his boots. Is it too much to ask?
I guess it is.
No answer. Nothing.
Emily? Emily, are you there? Emily!
Yes. Louis, is that you?
Yes, let me in.
I'm sorry, Louis. I don't feel very well. I'll see you later.
Are you sure everything's all right? Are you still there?
Monsieur de Richet, I have no time. I was about to join Sir Gregory. Come back later.
I wanted to talk to you a moment and...
I am expected. I'm sorry. We shall talk later.
I am sorry, sir, but you are unable to access Monsieur Peru's room while we gather his personal effects.
Next time, I'll listen to my mother. Not a day has gone by without something happening to me. What now?
Louis, open up, please.
Coming, Mr. President, I'm coming.
Louis. Ah, there you are at last.
Yes,
I just saw your mother. She was accompanied by Emily, and they both went into the Duchess's room. I tried to join them, but I was refused entry. Louis, this does not bode well.
Oh, shit. Emily might want to avenge her sister. I must act quickly.
You're right, Mr. President. Thank you.
I do believe that's Emily's voice. I can't understand what she's saying.
Emily! Emily, are you there? Answer me! Emily!
I can't open it. It must be blocked on the other side. I'll have to find another way in, quick. I have to get inside Emily's room through the... Shit! It's locked. No way. It's too sturdy.
How did you do that to me?
It's as if there are several people inside.
Once again, you're the one who's the victim in all this. What
A
are
letter
you
from
on about
William
now?
Pitt the Younger,
I should never have
addressed
told
to
you what
Emily.
happened to me.
He's the
That
present
was
Prime
Wilkes,
Minister
and
of
you
the
know it
United
full well.
Kingdom.
I'm not that
Emily has
naive.
indeed some
I
powerful
know you
backers.
inside out. Stop.
Madam,
We'll end
thank
up
you for
losing
consoling the
everything if
Queen.
we keep on.
The King's situation is worsening, but I wager a letter from William Pitt the Elder addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. 2 coils circle the lock.
Dear Gregory, thank you for the information. I've managed to find out about the names you gave me. George Washington is a man you can trust. In spite of his obvious talent for politics, he has remained upright and honest. On the other hand, as you may well know, he is already doing business with Lord Mortimer. It will be more difficult to approach him. Napoleon Bonaparte was unknown to me until today. He's a passionate young French soldier for whom Mortimer predicts a promising future. Take heed. He is a man of conviction, which to my mind makes him potentially dangerous. As for Sarah de Richet, what more is there to say? You already know each other. She was apparently invited by Lord Mortimer about an ongoing matter in Paris that concerns a receiver in stolen art. See you soon. Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
Dear Gregory,
I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
What on earth is... You... Mother?
How dare you do this to me? You can talk. After everything I've done for you. You are joking, I hope, right? I gave you my life. That's enough, Emma. Now that Louis is here, you will leave Sarah alone. Cease your revenge immediately. What? If you think you're going to... Louis, help me, I beg you. I can no longer reason with her. I am Emily. Quit playing games. What? Honestly, don't be ridiculous. No. I am Emily. You are wasting your time. Louis knows very well how to tell us apart. After everything we've been through together.
Yes, well...
Don't you dare bring him into this. This is between you and me. I ask for nothing more, so stop taking it out on Sarah. You pretty little bitch! How dare you! Now that I've told you everything, you want to take my place, do you? You are joking, I hope. I'm the one who told you everything that's been going on while you were away. Go on then. That's what you want, isn't it? You want to kill me. Go on then, shoot! After all the trouble I've gone through to find you. Go on. What are you waiting for? Here, Louis, take this.
Wait, what's going...
An entire life for this. Go on, shoot! Sorry, Louis, I can't shoot her. She's my sister. That's enough, Emma. Louis, out of the way. She's dangerous. Don't trust her. What are you trying to do? Louis, out of the way. I am not Emma. Come on, Louis, tell her who the real Emily is.
Wait,
That's right, Louis. I'm fed up with this little game. Tell him who the real Emily is.
Why do these things always happen to me?
Well, Louis, come on, you know how to tell us apart, right?
Yes, but I'd like to ask you a few questions to make sure there's no doubt.
Rational and open, Louis. Let's see. How can I tell them apart? Wait, I've got an idea.
On the night of our arrival... Who was with us on the wharf?
Cardinal Piaggi. He was with us from when we started traveling by ship. We arrived on the same boat. I already told her, Louis. Another question, then. I'm the one who told you.
Right. Let's find something else. Ah, yes. Let's speak about my arrival at the manor.
On the night of our arrival, we were warming ourselves in front of the fire. Mortimer welcomed us in a certain way. What happened exactly?
Well played, Louis. Unfortunately, I'm not the one you should have asked that question to. Mortimer did not welcome us. It was Sir Gregory who welcomed us that night. Mortimer didn't show up until 2 days later. I know that as well.
Very well.
Let's try something else.
On the first night, we went up to bed, but I wasn't tired. I went for a little stroll. Do you remember if we saw each other that night or not?
Not at all. Don't think you're going to get away with this deception so easily. I can assure you, you're going to regret pretending to be me once Louis has exposed you.
Right. I don't think I'll get very far like this. I'll have to find something better.
Oh, I don't think I'll even wait until he's finished.
Take it easy now.
Are you mad, Louis?
Lower your arm.
I better act quickly if I don't want things to get out of hand.
Come on, she's putting one over on you. Look at yourself for crying out loud. You were prepared to shoot me down.
In the secret room behind the study. Talk to them about what you've been doing. Maybe they haven't spoken about it between each other yet.
On the night of the disappearance of Elizabeth Adams.
What about it? What do you want to know about that night?
How did you vanquish the Medusa?
The Gorgon always attacks the best protected. The sword kills the monster charges the shield reflects the light, and the lantern perturbs the monster. I didn't need more than 2 minutes to solve that enigma. That's right. Make fun of us. That's enough! I've had enough of this charade. Louis, there's only one way to tell us apart. There's just one thing I didn't tell her about in detail. Too bad for you, Emma. I didn't want it to come to this, but you leave me no choice. Ask her about you and I. You just lost, Emma. I indeed didn't tell you everything about it. Come, Louis. Speak about our intimacy.
Very well. Let's talk about us. Last night, you came to me in my room. What exactly did we talk about?
We spoke briefly about your choices during the conference, Louis. What do you mean? Yes, Emma. It just so happens I didn't tell you everything. I never told you about this part. I hate you!
That's enough, both of you. Now I know who the real Emily is.
You are Emily Hillsborough.
I knew you wouldn't get it wrong, Louis. No! You little bitch!
Watch out, Louis!
No!
Hell, what have I done?
See what you've done. See.
Louis? What on earth is going...
Mother!
Go. You must leave. Everyone's going to arrive.
Louis, what's going on?
Duchess? Is everything all right?
Go! Go, Mother! No one must find you here.
Go.
Come, Louis. There's nothing more you can do.
But I...
Leave us.
Emily, what's going on?
Mother, go to the crypt. I'll meet you there.
I'll be waiting for you.
Emily.
Madam, I'm coming in.
It was bound to end like this, Louis. Let me stay with her, please. Go, I'll cover you.
Good God! They're all here. They must have heard the gunshot.
Where is Lord Mortimer?
Can anyone hear anything through the door?
Did you hear that? I was not dreaming, was I?
Certainly not, Duke Godoy.
What's going on?
Someone had the bang coming from the Duchess's room, and she isn't answering. Gentlemen, go back to your rooms. Go back to your rooms. I shall find out from Lord Mortimer what this is all about. Thank you.
Lord Mortimer certainly has a taste for staging rooms.
Louis! At last, there you are.
Mother, wait,
Come, we have to be quick.
No, wait, Mother,
Time is running out, Louis. First, we must...
No! That's enough. I won't go a step further unless you explain to me what is going on here. I'm begging you. Talk to me.
You must trust me, my son. You are not ready yet.
You're the one who should trust me. Tell me what's happening.
You would never believe me.
I came all the way here for you. Now I've found you. I'm ready, Mother.
If only... Louis, I have always taught you to keep your mind open and logical. I know you are going to find it hard to believe, but what I am going to reveal to you is entirely true. Many years ago, I found out that demons really do live among us.
I beg your pardon?
And that they can influence our thoughts.
Mother, listen to yourself. I know you're exhausted, but for crying out loud, listen to what you're saying. Demons? What next? An ancient monster with a head like an octopus? What do your demons look like? Have they got horns and a pointed tail?
No, these are not creatures with billy goat's legs. Forget your Christian folklore. Imagine them more as parasitic spirits. They possess their hosts and direct them from inside.
Parasitic spirits?
Yes, they are capable of going from one body to another as they see fit. And 2 of them are present on this island.
Right. So let me guess. Lord Mortimer and Sir Gregory, right?
You felt it too?
No, even if Home does look the part. But I don't know who else could do it, given that we're on their territory.
Many years ago, well before you were born, I crossed paths with one of them. Since then, I've spent my life trying to find it again. When we recovered the Alizif, I was persuaded that von Burchard was working for this demon in one way or another. But I thought he would hand the book to a middleman during this conference. That's where I made an error that could well turn out to be fatal. The one who Burchard was meant to give the book to was none other than the demon in person, Mortimer. Not to mention that Home had sent Volner to get it for him.
Home and Mortimer are demons?
They both seem to disagree about many things, but I'll admit I never knew exactly why. There are many of them, Louis. Not just those 2.
Mother, have you any proof to support any of this?
Of course, but you do too. You had everything laid out in front of you. Didn't you notice anything?
Well, those property deeds across the world, all signed by the same hand and over several centuries.
I am proud of you, Louis.
I found your notes, written in lemon juice.
Where all eyes size you up. At one stage, I was so afraid of losing my mind that I noted everything down. Congratulations, Louis. Wait, please tell me you didn't open Pandora's box.
The urn? Yes, I did. Why?
Too bad. We'll deal with it later.
I came across his family tree, in his study.
An only son.
Since the Third Crusade.
The fall of St. John of Acre, Louis. The fall of St. John of Acre.
I went beyond the Nightmare Mother.
You understood the Masonic date.
1191.
Of course! It was during that siege that the demon took possession of Sir Mortimer. They spent a whole night in conversation until the early hours of the morning. Mortimer had passed the test. He had charmed the demon, and so it chose him to be its host for centuries to come. But tell me, did you find his secret study?
I did indeed.
Did you see his maps of the world?
He has contacts the world over.
Yes, I've been developing the Golden Order across the world for many years, and I've never seen anyone with such influence. It's simply inhuman.
I must admit, I found it difficult to understand how and why Mortimer didn't have a place in history.
On the continent, Mortimer and Home are mere dandies who organize society balls. History forgets them with a disconcerting facility. No one speaks about them, and yet they whisper in the ears of kings and presidents.
You mean the conference?
How can you explain that someone manages to bring together so many important figures without anyone knowing?
And without any security or personnel.
Louis, I am proud of you. You came all this way. You found me. You have surpassed me.
You taught me everything I know. Right. How did it all begin?
I saw him!
What do you mean you saw him?
I was 20 years old. I was young and carefree. I traveled the world in search of adventure. In the Persian Gulf, we came across an ancient grimoire that became unlocked. Composed of 7 parts, each one was a book in itself, set in a sort of metal armor that structured the whole thing. When all the volumes were brought together, they formed a single book. On my return to Paris, I set to studying these pages. I spent all my days and nights studying them.
Oh, I can imagine you doing that.
But the writing was in a language I had never seen before, developed well before Sumerian, in my opinion. So I got the idea to form a small occult circle composed of all the major names in the occult world to see if anyone else could crack it.
And you found no one.
And I found someone, Louis. I found him. Or rather, he found me. He was young, charismatic. He was flamboyant.
Sir Gregory?
No, Mortimer, of course. He was a veritable mine of knowledge. I showed him the book, and he was able to decipher a few passages. We spent several months together studying the pages.
He was already old in those days, wasn't he? So you recognized him when you arrived on the island, right?
No, he wasn't in that body. But I know it was him. I swear it was him. The way he spoke, his posture, a few of his intonations, his mannerisms.
Wait a minute. You were talking about 60 years ago. I've lost the thread.
Yes, sorry. He helped me understand certain passages until I realized that he only translated a few parts for me. But I had aroused his interest. It was too late.
How so?
I mean to say he manipulated me. He used me, and in the end, he stole the book with all its secrets.
Did he ever go to your place?
Not once. At least I don't think so. But before disappearing, he proposed a pact between us. He proposed that I follow him and let him teach me, allow him to bring me up.
And you accepted?
Please don't be stupid. You don't make deals with the devil. After that, I spent my whole life looking for him. 3 years later, in Berlin, I just missed him. In London, I lost 6 members of the order in a chase. In 1741, in Tunisia, I found a sect of fanatics who had crossed paths with him once. 1741, in Poland. 1749, in India.
8 years ago in Venice.
We agreed never to speak about what happened in Venice, Louis. For the moment, that is not the key issue here. Once we found the Alazif in Paris, I followed von Borchart's trail here. I didn't think it would lead me straight to the demon. It was careless of me. He toyed with me for a few days, until I caught on, until I saw him as he was. But he had no intention of letting me leave. We are all his pawns, Louis, and if we don't want to spend the rest of our lives turning round in circles here, we must absolutely get off this island. All right, can we move on?
Wait a minute. One last thing. I want to know what happened with Elizabeth Adams.
Louis, we haven't time for those details.
You're probably right. I want to know what happened between you and Emily's sister.
Great responsibility often brings difficult choices, Louis. That's all you need to know.
Mother, I won't take a step further if you don't answer me.
You dare blackmail me?
I'm listening.
All right, I used her. So there you are. Happy now? We had the Al-Azif, and I didn't think we would be able to escape with it. In order to ensure that the book did not fall into their hands, or that one of them couldn't read in us where we had hidden it, I asked Emily to...
It's Emma.
Yes, or rather for me, it was Emily. So I asked Emma to hide it without anyone seeing, and then I disposed of her. I am sorry for her, but she was part of the Golden Order, Louis. She knew the rules when she joined.
What did you negotiate about the Al-Azif with Volner?
Absolutely nothing. I managed to pull the wool over his eyes until I found a way to flee.
What was going on with the cannons in Tuscany?
It was nothing.
Since when does the Order finance wars?
The cannons for that Bonaparte fellow? Listen, once in the lion's den, I did whatever I could to appear legitimate. So yes, I pretended to be interested in Mortimer's project about a young military man who was seeking funding for a foundry in Tuscany. Between you and me, if buying China would have enabled me to escape, I would have signed without hesitation.
Samuel Ritter du Choix, you wanted to send me a letter about Godoy.
I wanted you to run a check on Duke Manuel. But frankly, it doesn't really matter anymore now. Godoy is just a pawn like the others. He is not the one I was looking for.
You know, I found your package under a wharf plank.
As a matter of fact, I needed it yesterday. I wasn't expecting anyone to take it.
On the evening of my arrival, Cardinal Piaggi came looking for you. He was determined to give you a letter.
More of his lists. Louis, I think I know what's in that letter, and I beseech you to believe that it is the least of our worries. We can sort that out later.
Are you going to tell me what happened to your hand?
Better than that. I shall show you.
Good. I think that's about right. We shall speak about it once we get back to France.
Great actions for humanity have been decided by demons for centuries, Louis. They are playing with our destiny. We are their slaves. And it's time for it to stop. By the way, what was Mortimer's project at this conference?
He demands that the Spanish hand over Louisiana to France.
Oh, knowing him, it won't stop there. We should do our utmost to put a stop to Mortimer's plans. But for the time being, there are more pressing matters.
Are you going to tell me why we're here?
There. That's why we are here.
Reassure me, we aren't going to have to force that one, are we?
I don't think we're even capable of doing it. You're going to have to find a way to open it.
Why, of course. And what's inside?
Something to vanquish them with?
Perfect. So, how does it open?
We'll need several keys. I found a note from the architect who conceived the mechanism in Mortimer's secret study. We have to first gather 6 objects before we try anything.
Are your 6 objects the keys?
Exactly. We have the Clement III cross, the nails, the Gutenberg Bible, the exegesis of Judas, an armillary sphere, and all we need to match up the dates between the different calendars.
Why a cross?
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea, but it just so happens that's what you are going to use to activate the mechanism. I found the one Mortimer kept. It belonged to Cardinal Guibert, better known by the name of Pope Clement III.
Perfect. Where is it?
Unfortunately, I've lost it. When I lost my hand, I went dashing out, and it must have fallen from my pocket.
Remember, Mother. I'm certain you can remember.
Let me think.
You were running.
I was bleeding to death.
You remember the pain.
I thought I was going to faint. Yes, I remember. I don't think it can be far, can it?
Would you have lost it outside?
No, I don't think so. It must be in the area. I don't remember going up with it.
Perfect. I'll search the crypt before leaving. Some nails?
Don't ask me. I'm not the one who made the mechanism, you know. When I arrived, there were already a few of them inserted, so I didn't have to worry about those. On the other hand, I remember seeing some in Mortimer's secret study, behind his nightmare.
In a golden cup? Yes. Yes, I saw them too.
Perfect. It will be easy for you to find them then. You need 3 of them.
Very well.
You remember what to do about the rollers. 1191 to enter, and 6466 to exit.
Of course. An exegesis. Anything else?
Did you manage to vanquish the Medusa?
To open the chimney? Yes, absolutely.
So you've already come across it. It's the Bible of Judas that is exposed in the secret room behind the chimney.
Why do they call it an exegesis?
Because that's what it is, and not an apocryphal Bible, strictly speaking. It's the study of a text with a summary, not an actual Bible. Anyway, well done for the Gorgon. You did well. You didn't get tricked by the light bouncing back.
Thanks. Do you think I can take it safely?
We haven't got a choice, Louis. Without it, we won't be able to work out this cursed mechanism.
There's one in the portrait gallery.
That's right.
You still believe it's in the tower room, don't you?
I don't know. There is only one way to find out, though.
Right. I shall go and see. There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
What do you mean by the concordance of dates, exactly?
Don't worry about that. We already have them. They are written on the back of the message I just gave you. One last thing before you go. Be very careful. If you come across anyone, they can all potentially be spies of Mortimer or Holm. Don't ever confide in anyone because a demon can slip inside them at any moment.
Wait, not all of them though. Take Washington.
Especially Washington. He's been conditioned by Mortimer for years. Look at them, for crying out loud. How do you explain their behavior otherwise? The most influential politicians in the Western world gather together without the least protection, without a single aid to assist them, to participate in a conference during which the guests start dropping like flies. Me, Adams, Peru, Hillsborough. Look at the number of calamities that have happened over the past few days. And not one of them has asked to leave the island? Do you find that normal? You'll see. Go up to the manor to look for the keys, and I wager not one of them will speak to you about my being in Emily's room.
Do you think so?
Go on, you'll see. And come back with all the objects in one go. Time is against us. And remember, the code to get out of the secret office is 6646. You ought to go, Louis. If someone finds us here, the situation might well become seriously complicated.
Golden elixir.
Famous cross of Claymont III. Perfect. And one key found.
Right. Let's see if the statues are in place yet. The lantern is already in the right position, turned toward the shield. Shield toward the sword. Well, that's good. The statue is already in the right place. The sword toward the Gorgon. That's good. It's in the right place. That statue is not positioned correctly.
Open sesame.
So that's Pandora's box? An urn? Mother seemed worried that I was able to open it. I wonder why. Never mind. Now it's too late. So that's the exegesis of Judas. I hope Mortimer doesn't read it very often. Otherwise, he's going to notice that someone's stolen it. But that's just too bad. I need it. Caesar's laurel wreath. Given all the relics preserved here, it wouldn't surprise me if Mortimer claimed it was Excalibur. The Ring of the Nibelungs. Even if Mortimer is several centuries old, I don't see what part he has. Right. I've got what I need. Now let's not waste any more time. Right. It's definitely an armillary sphere, but I have to find one that I can take with me. Otherwise, I risk drawing too much attention to my comings and goings. Now, where can I find a smaller one? Chronicles of the Amber Princess. As I recall, Dorkin was my favorite character.
Not too shocked.
I beg your pardon?
About Peru this morning. I asked you if you weren't too shocked by it all.
And yourself? Not too shook up?
The only thing that matters to me about that stupid man Peru is the disastrous situation in which it puts us for the conference vote. I wonder why Mortimer even allowed him to roam around the manor armed. He was a veritable public danger.
Indeed. You don't seem to be too affected. Tell me. I was wondering. You wouldn't know where to find an armillary sphere, would you?
Do you really think this is the right time? Oh, ask Volner. I am sure he will know. What with him being passionate about astronomy, you ought to get on fine together. Leave me now. I need to think of a solution.
I won't keep you any longer. See you later, monsieur.
Ah, Doriche, congratulations for your efforts with Washington. I see that Sir Gregory did well to trust you. What can I do for you?
I'm dreaming. My mother was right. He's not going to tell me one word about what happened to Emily.
To tell you the truth, I'm in search of an armillary sphere. You wouldn't know where I can find it, would you?
Well, well. So you too have a passion for astronomy. Von Vollner has already bored me quite enough with all of his endless stories. You ought to concentrate, Louis. Politics is an art that requires all one's attention. Refrain from spreading yourself too thin, and leave stargazing to the poets.
What can I say? I'm only...
Ask Vollner. I am sure he must have it among his effects.
Perfect. Thank you, my Lord Duke.
Leave me now.
See you later.
Dear E, I received your last letter. Unfortunately, the Crown informed the Golden Order that our mission should under no circumstances hamper Sir Gregory's plans. Decidedly, they have support from the highest level in Buckingham Palace. So here we both are, hands and feet tied, and little room to maneuver. Keep me abreast of events. Our mission is becoming more complicated. Yours, E. T.S. The French chapter of the Order doesn't appear to know anything about the arrival of our friend Sarah. I therefore cannot comment on it. However, my guess is that she has come here for personal reasons.
A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguised traits. A devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguised traits. Great, honey.
Dear friend, please come and join us. We must meet about the ongoing operations in Paris.
Ah, Louis. Glad you're here.
Blasted. He's gonna talk about my mother.
Come and see what I've found. There are pieces of paper in the ashes of the chimney. Someone's been burning something here.
Incredible. He doesn't seem to want to speak to me about what happened between my mother and the Hillsborough sisters.
Show me a little.
Look, it's possible to distinguish two different writing styles.
The rest of the correspondence between my mother and Emma.
Someone tried to burn an exchange of messages. I'm certain. There must be more.
Shit. What on earth is he doing?
If you want my opinion, a servant must have burnt some old papers, that's all.
Why, of course. You very nearly made me think that you were trying to hide something, Louis. No, I'm sure there must be other hidden messages.
He won't let go. He's going to work his way back to the Bible if he continues. Dante's paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortar world must ripen in our rays.
Hey, look, there.
No, I don't see anything.
Come, Louis, look. Someone's clearly drawn a 4 in the dust. I have a clue.
I better take the Bible before he works his way back to it. Dante's paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortar world must ripen in our rays.
Oh, the Bible's still there.
Golden elixir.
A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
An armillary sphere. Perfect. That will save me some time. I only hope that he isn't going to realize it right away.
A fragment of amber.
A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart. The signs of obscurantism. The signs of obscurantism. The alchemist as a young man. The signs of the zodiac. The alchemist is an old man.
Right. This time, it'll be a lot quicker. If I remember rightly, the code was 1191. Of course.
Weaknesses of the Human Psyche by Wilhelm Tremor. Wilhelm Tremor. Tremor, an anagram of Mortimer. Wow. Arrogant enough to publish writings on mental control in full view of everyone. I wonder who he's writing for.
Golden elixir.
A Van Leeuwenhoek microscope? The most sophisticated microscope there is. When I think of the difficulty the Order had in getting hold of one of these... A hand of tarot cards. The Emperor, a symbol of power and stability. Temperance, which expresses a reward. And the Chariot, now that evokes triumph. If this hand is anything to go by, Mortimer's destiny promises to be glorious. Looks like obsidian or onyx. It must weigh a ton. What on earth could that be? Feathers, Pigeons, probably. There! Those are the nails I was looking for. I noticed they were old and rusty, but I hadn't noticed these traces of... Could that be blood? Is it really the relic of the Holy Cross? I can hardly believe it. All right, come on, let's get out of here. 6466, if I remember correctly.
So, good. You've managed to gather all the keys.
Yes, that's right. I have everything. What should I start with?
Place the Clement III cross on the console. Then you have to put the nails on the disc of the door.
What theme did you start with?
As the fresco shows the birth of Christ, I placed one nail in Bethlehem, one in chapter 2, and one in verse 6. The iris opened a little. I thought it was normal. Behind the aperture of the iris, there is a duct in which I put my hand. I felt something like a valve at the bottom. I thought by turning it the door would open, or the iris would open completely, or something else would happen. Instead, I felt something like an axe cut off my hand. I really thought it was the end of me.
What did you do then?
Well, although I had made some unfortunate choices, I was lucky in that Mortimer was well stocked with drugs. I raided his supplies of medicine.
What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert 1 to choose a town, 1 to choose a chapter, and 1 to choose a verse. Those are Roman numerals on the disc.
All right, my turn now.
Go ahead, impress me. I'll shut up and let you concentrate.
This exegesis contains comments from Judas on the different Gospels. It only contains certain chapters and verses, and the chapters are indicated by Roman numerals. The lexicon refers to different chapters and verses from the exegesis of Judas. Chapter 1, verse 9. Jesus was baptized by John in Jordan on the 9th of Hesvan, 3852. Chapter 1, verse 9. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee, and was baptized by John in Jordan. And coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens opened, and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. Chapter 1, verse 9. Jesus was baptized by John in Jordan on the 9th of Hesvan, 3852. Chapter 1, verse 9. Jesus was baptized by John in Jordan on the 9th of Hesvan, 3852. Cross is stuck in the mechanism. I can't do anything. The cycle of the moons has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. The fresco clearly shows the birth of Christ.
Louis, I can assure you that that is not the solution to this enigma. This fresco's only purpose is to mislead. I know that now. Please, focus on another theme about Christ.
I'll have to trust her. Yes, it's definitely a representation of the birth of Christ, but some of the details have flaked away. I can't see any other clues. One thing is for sure, this enigma deals with the life of Jesus, like my mother said. You could see that the paint has come off in parts. Difficult to see what was there, but I can distinguish the letters N-R-I. Nothing more. Why, of course. They're part of the initials I-N-R-I that you can find on the cross of Jesus at his crucifixion. It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. These towns have one thing in common. They're all related to the life and death of Jesus. For example, Jordan is the place of the baptism of Christ. There are 3 styles of writing, and I've got 3 nails. There must be a link. I must surely put in 1 nail per category. clearly. We have names of towns, Arabian numerals, and Roman numerals. Chapter 14, verse 22. On the 7th of Nisan, 3793, Jesus shared his Last Supper in the Cenacle in Jerusalem. Chapter 14, verse 22. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed and broke it, and gave to them and said, "Take, eat. This is my body." And he took the cup, and when he'd given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst.
It works. Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
There must surely be a connection between the wheels. There are different icons on this wheel, but it looks like some of them can't be connected to the other wheels. Now, given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest.
Mother, what do you think?
As I told you, I didn't get that far. Nevertheless, these icons do represent moments in the life of Christ.
This wheel contains several symbols made up of 1 or 2 figures and 1 letter. The highest figure does not exceed 31, and each letter corresponds to a month of the year. A for April, and M for March. I think these symbols must represent a specific date. This wheel represents the different moons. In the occult sciences, we represent the full moon by an X. As for the dark moon, called the new moon, in cults, it's often associated with something harmful.
Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon.
Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck.
Chapter 2, verse 6. Jesus was born of Mary and Joseph on the 22nd of Teveth at midnight, 3762, in the village of Bethlehem. Chapter 2, verse 6. And so it was that, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered of a child. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. Chapter 5, verse 2. Jesus cures the sick and lame on the 8th of Adar, 3791, in Jerusalem, at the pool of Bethesda. All stand and fling away their canes. Chapter 2, verse 6. Jesus was born of Mary and Joseph on the 22nd of Teveth at midnight, 3762, in the village of Bethlehem. Chapter 3, verse 18. Words truly pronounced in Abagash. Chapter 3, verse 18. He that believeth in him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God.
It works.
Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
Given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest.
I think I can make out each one of the icons apart from the one covered in blood. Going clockwise from the one I just mentioned, we have the halo that represents the resurrection. The waves represent the baptism of Jesus. It's more difficult to identify the next one. Maybe a crib, and in that case it's surely linked to the birth of Christ. The red herring that my mother followed. Then, the symbol represents the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during his crucifixion. The dove also represents the baptism. Certainly another red herring. Then comes the symbol of the Trinity. And finally, the candle that must stand for the Last Supper.
Chapter 14, verse 22. On the 7th of Nisan, 3793, Jesus shared his Last Supper in the Cenacle in Jerusalem. Chapter 14, verse 22. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed and broke it, and gave to them and said, "Take, eat. This is my body." And he took the cup, and when he'd given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. Chapter 5, verse 2. Jesus cures the sick and lame on the 8th of Adar, 3791, in Jerusalem, at the pool of Bethesda. All stand and fling away their canes. Chapter 5, verse 2. Now, there is at Jerusalem, by the sheep market, a pool, which is called, in the Hebrew tongue, Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of the blind, halting, and withered, waiting for the moving of the water. Jesus saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Chapter 24, verse 3. Jesus rose from the dead on the 14th of Nisan, 3793, in Nazareth. He appeared with a halo above his head. Chapter 24, verse 3. But when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were wondering about this, suddenly 2 men in clothes that gleamed like lightning stood beside them. In their fright, the women bowed down with their faces to the ground. But the men said to them, Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee, chapter 2, verse 6. Jesus was born of Mary and Joseph on the 22nd of Teveth at midnight, 3762, in the village of Bethlehem. Chapter 2, verse 6. And so it was that, while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered of a child. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. The moon shadow moves from west to east. During new moon, the moon is entirely in the shadow. Then, the shadow moves from west to east, meaning left to right, and goes through the following states: waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent, and the cycle starts over with the full shadowed new moon. Seventh of Shaban, 607, first quarter. 8th of Ramadan, 553, waxing crescent. 19th of Jumada al-Awwal, 639, waning gibbous. 7th of Shaban, 607, first quarter. I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck.